What's up, friends? Yeah, I started the countdown a little early today. Well, a little longer countdown, just because it seems like it takes a while for people to kind of find the stream. So, I see we got a few of the creative crew hopping in. Isaac and Gray Creates. Live, jumping in on the live stream from Crystal Lake. And then we got somebody from the UK coming in. Awesome. Yeah, I love just getting to know where you guys are, joining from. So today's going to be a fun live stream. Really, it's going to be pretty chill today, y'all. Hoping to get Brad Bramer in. He is actually at the SALT conference, and so it's kind of chaotic there right now. But he's hoping to find a spot where he can jump in and do some of the live stream reviews, or at least just kind of talk shop with church creatives with us for a little bit. And so, what's up, Durfmeister? I know you. But yeah, so I would love to just do some Q&A with you guys, talk about what's going on in your ministries, any tech struggles that you're having, any highs, any lows that you've experienced in the last couple of weeks. We've done some great live streams in the last couple of months. Last month we had Johnny Reagan on, and then before that we had Lee Fields on. And we just had a lot of good time just talking about church tech, learning from each other. And so drop in the comments any questions you might have, anything you want to talk about, maybe some new technology that's coming out that you're curious to get people's thoughts on, maybe a special project that you've got going on, or you just have some deep burning questions for me. Ask away. So for now, drop in the chat where you're hopping in from, and we'll get started in a few minutes. It's gonna be fun. You guys are here early, so go ahead and hit that like button, and that'll maybe push this stream out to, some more of the subscribers of the channel, and see some of my creative crew people in there. We'll be hopping into our second hour for our members only live stream portion, where we're doing our Zoom group, being able to just kind of bounce ideas off each other, talk shop a little bit one-on-one. And if you're not a member of the creative crew, it's $5 a month. Really, it's just kind of supporting the channel, but also get access to the Creative Crew live streams and our Discord channel that we've been having a lot of fun just sharing our day-to-day stuff and getting feedback on things. So you can still do that, and then once you do that, you will see the posts in the community tab that's members only. So there's options for that. Hit that like button. We got 4 minutes. And there is still time to submit your live stream before we get going today. I mean, I've got a few lined up here, and there was quite a few that were submitted, but not as many as last time. So, what's up, Brad? I see you there. I'm gonna get you popped over here. All right. Well, we are actually getting Brad into the live stream here, guys. Just trying to get his audio sorted out. So I'm going to bring up the logo image. He's going to try and hop back in. And then, because I want to get that all sorted so we can actually get this going. He's in at SALT conference in a side room. So I'll be right back. Hold on the line. Alrighty, friends. Welcome to the Friday live stream. Let's go. All right, Brad disappeared, so we're gonna try and get him back on later. Like I said, he's a kind of a big deal. If you don't know who Brad Bramer is, you should follow him on Instagram because he's just a guru of all things audio, and he's at SALT conference right now. And so I'm sure he's getting pulled in a million different directions. So I'm just happy that he would give us any time. He's been on the live stream previously. It was just such a good time having him on and learning from him. But you know what? We're all here together, and I've got you guys in the chat, and we can learn from each other. And so I'm already learning some stuff here. We've got one of the thoughts that has already been thrown out there from Isaac, talking about how they have kicked Resi to the curb. Ouch. Ouch, man. Well, you're going to save a lot of money. So he says, finally kicked Resi to the curb in favor of the Magewell encoder. Excited to save $200 a month of my budget. Yeah, $200 a month is a pretty penny. So let's pull up that Magewell encoder because, yeah, I've seen that before. My buddies over at Collaborate Worship, they saw like one of y'all's comments on one of these live streams and then Dylan was like, I'm gonna check that out. And so he looked it up, and let's see here if I pull up because some of you guys may have never even heard of this encoder. You know, typically we're looking at Black Magic stuff or something like that. But would you like that, guys? New technology. The Magewell encoder, it's $900, you know, but can it do 4K? Because that's a question that I have right now. So up to 4096 by 2160 at 60. It can do up to 6 simultaneous streams, 32 megabits per second, which at 4K, I mean, that's probably good enough for live streaming. Because like for us, we're actually thinking about moving. No, we're not thinking about it. We are moving to a 4K live stream. And is this the right thing, Isaac? Right? The ultra encode? Yeah, ultra encode. So that's one thing we're going to have to upgrade is our encoding. And so we have, you know, I've been looking at the Web Presenter 4K. Actually, I think I may have. So here's the thoughts on this is like the Web Presenter 4K is $800. I may have actually already purchased this, so I may need to return it because the Magewell may be better, y'all. Because the thing about the 4K is like you can only go to one destination, and which at the end of the day, if you're streaming in 4K, you're pretty much going to YouTube. I mean, what else is going to accept 4K? So maybe it doesn't really matter that much. I love the interface thing. We really enjoy that coming back into our video hub. But the Magewell, I mean, it looks like you can do some Wi-Fi stuff. If you could do vertical streaming with it, like that would be crazy. You can record to it too, which is a nice thing. I think you can record straight to the SD card or USB recording. So that would solve the problem of me having to get a 4K recorder as well. What do you think, guys? It's got the 6G SDI inputs. I don't care about NDI. I could stream to Twitch. Isaac, y'all streaming to Twitch? He says, do it. Oh, yeah. That's another big thing is that you can schedule. You can schedule the local recording. So you record into a house server and SD card while streaming to 6 locations and an NDI output for overflow. Ooh. Okay, so what if, which I'm going to have video routing stuff, so maybe it's not that big a deal, but like I use the NDI routing Like there is our green room that's way in the back that we don't have anything except internet back there. So I could use something like the Zoetech NDI decoder that would spit out a, well, this is SDI, but they have an HDMI version. Something to decode the NDI into a TV in the green room. And then that would solve, that's really interesting. So I don't know, Magewell Ultra Encode is only $90 more. It's a good question. Good thoughts there, Isaac. All right. 4K via HDMI, so you will need a converter to HDMI. Oh yeah. Well, it's 6G. It's 6G though on the SDI. So the SDI doesn't do it? I mean, I believe you if you have it. So, anyways, very interesting. Very, very interesting. All right. Well, I hope you guys are having a great Friday. Wherever you're at in this big wide world, we're going to have a great time just hanging out and talking shop about church technology and live streaming and audio and video and lighting and all the things that we love, they're just tools to help us share the gospel week in and week out. So I'm very thankful for all of you who are hopping on the stream today. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that like button. That helps this stream get out to more people. And we've got people joining from all over the place. We got Birmingham, Indiana, and we had some from the UK and Alaska. Goodness, lots of people from all over the place. So very, very cool. New York. Thanks for hopping on, Amy. Very cool to have you guys on. Let's see. We're going to look through your comments here. Flannel Night. At work today. Have to watch the video on demand later. Yes. One of my creative crew there. I love our Apple TV in the foyer. Hey, if you are using Apple TV for foyer stuff, you should definitely look into Playlister. I mean, it's pretty powerful and can use that on your Apple TV for signage and lots of other stuff. Do it, Ryland. Don't think about it. DJ hopping in from South Florida. Awesome. Thanks for being here, guys. Well, if you are new around here, my name's Ryland. I'm a worship and media arts pastor here at Central Baptist Church in Owasso. And I'm always on the hunt for budget-minded solutions for my tech ministry needs. We are in the middle of a giant remodel, and it's about to get real crazy town up in here. And in about a month, actually a month from today, November 10th, AVL is coming in. We're supposed to have clean room is what they call it. Clean room or dry room or something. It's clean room. So AVL will come in November 10th and begin the festivities. Now, there's still quite a bit that I'm going to have to DIY, but DC Pro, our integrator, is going to be coming and getting it all hooked up, baby. It's going to be a lot, and they'll be here for about a month. So what I have found, guys, during this process is like, as much as I would love to document everything that's happening, it's so hard. Like every day I come in with a plan and then it's a new thing, or somebody's pulling me into some meeting or a question about this, or look at these stairway lights, or look at these house lights, or what's the question about this electrical thing, or it's just a whole thing. So this last week we had to begin the process of kind of finalizing the conduit in our existing media booth. And so you might have seen that little post on my story where we were putting our second kind of Savvy mount camera pole that we DIY'd. You can find that on my stories. And then it's an adventure where we're going to have to do that part. So that way everything is ready to go for AVL to get here. But I do have a question for you guys. Drop in the chat. if you could redesign your ideal front of house sound booth, like what is one non-negotiable thing about it? It could be a piece of technology. It could be like the design of the sound booth. It could be, I don't know. It just whatever you think like is something that it's like, if I was getting to redesign mine from scratch, ground up, here is a non-negotiable thing that it was definitely going to happen. I know a lot of people would say like you have to have 45-degree things on the banisters of your sound booth so people can't sit their drinks, on the railing of your sound booth, and then all of a sudden it's pouring onto your gear. So we are actually going to add that. So our cabinetry guys are doing that, but that's not without its own issues. So what are some of the things that you would say are some of your non-negotiables? Charles says 3 times the amount of outlets that we currently have, with some of them always on and others on sequencers. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can always add more outlets. We just have tons of like the long power strips underneath the thing, but definitely more circuits. So outlets are great. Circuits are even better. Now, most of the stuff in our booths doesn't take like that much power necessarily, but yes, a lot of outlets. If you're putting them on sequencers, like, are you talking like the Furman sequencers, or what kind of sequencing would you want for those? Scott says location in the room. Yeah, that's a big one. When we first came here, when they first built the room, they actually had the sound booth tucked up inside like the cave, like where you're not going to be able to hear. So, and I know some people even put like a glass thing over it. I don't understand people like, you can't hear it if it's in there. But I understand the design of some rooms, like you're off to the side, you have to be, but if you can be in the right spot, that's definitely a big one for sure. John says non-negotiable in the open air and not a back wall, and not in a cavern back room through a window. Oh, okay. So literally like what I was just saying. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay. So one thing we're trying to figure out that maybe you guys can suggest, when we were in that back room, we actually built a secondary platform out front for our audio and Pro Presenter to live on, the big 8x16, second booth out front. It's lower, but it is about 12 inches off the ground, and it's just open underneath. And so what we realized, like, it had 0 supports. Actually, it was only supported around the perimeter of it, and it was this huge sub cavern, like sub bass sub box basically, where it was vibrating. So our audio guys would always have to walk out in the room to like have a clear picture of the bass. And so what would you say is the best way to mitigate that? I mean, I've done some chat GPTing and asked our integrators kind of their thoughts, but before we put all of the decking back on that booth, because we had to take some of it off to be able to install that secondary pole, what have you guys used? Have you had success with that? I mean, I'm really only concerned about the audio side of things. One thing we did do was we actually put supports all throughout it, and immediately that did help, because before, like, you would just walk across it and it was like you could hear it. So that was not good. Greg creates easier access to cables running from the booth to the stage. Sound dampening outlets and a camera spot. So sound dampening, that's kind of what we're talking about now. Easier access to cables running from booth to the stage. Yeah. So that's been the adventure of this week. Is on the plans, my integration, it's weird. Like, this sound booth in our space was the only spot, like, on the plans of the remodel where it's like grayed out, and it's like, we're not touching that for some reason. I guess because we had redone it recently, but the conduit plans say like run all this conduit to that booth and then use existing conduit that's there. There is conduit that goes from the stage under the concrete. There's 3 6-inch pipes, maybe 4-inch, from under the stage all the way back to the back booth, right? That's great. The problem is there is no like conduit inside of our booth that to get like from the ceiling stuff over to the front booth. Like, and so I've got to kind of create this pathway of cabling, because before, guys, it was bad. When we, oh my gosh, let's see if I don't know if I would be able to easily find it. I have some video of us taking out all the cabling out of those pipes, and underneath the free air where there was no conduit, it was just piles and piles and knots of cables. We just cut the ends off of everything and just pulled it, because it was like, I don't know if these HDMIs are even good anymore. Like, what are we doing trying to save a $20 HDMI cable? Let's just start fresh. It's going to take 2 days to try and unravel all these. So yeah, that was a fun possibility. Rob says, oh my goodness, sorry guys, I keep triple clicking. It's like I'm a noob working on a Pro Presenter. Don't double click. It's just a single click, friends. Possibility to stand. So that is definitely something we are doing. We actually have, we've been assembling our new standing desks, and I went with the Magnus Pro. If you want to look them up, it's Secret Labs is who makes them. I can't say whether like I'm loving them or not. They literally, like 2 of them have gotten assembled so far, but that's who I went with. They have some good cable trays, but yeah, like when I've done these tech tours and stuff, one of the big things that I've noticed is like just people loving the ability to, if you want to mix standing up, you just raise the desk up and you're standing, and you've got your Behringer wing that we'll have up at mixing height for standing. And then if you preach comes along and it's like, well, we're not going to stand for sermon, like let's lower it. Then you can do that. Same thing for Pro Presenter or lighting, like any of it. I find myself wanting to stand when I program, or yeah, so that's definitely a big deal. I may need to look at better chairs for our booth. What's up, Charles? Glad you're on here, bro. Isaac says, everything to cat cable. Costs a bit more, but way easier to convert, and you can reuse lines if needed. Yeah, I mean, definitely, like we are putting a lot of cat cable everywhere. Even that is kind of confusing though, right? Like Cat 5e or Cat 6, or there's like even these other levels of cat, but then like certain ones are, you want shielded, but then other times you don't want shielded. And if you're, doing things for like broadcast audio, you need shielded, or, so yes, cat is great. But then also like one of the questions that I've been mulling around, is, is not using cat for a specific thing that I saw, and using a optical Thunderbolt cable. And let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So what I'm toying with is doing so we have a broadcast audio and broadcast video room that's not part of our main booth now, right? So, but Pro Presenter is still going to live at front of house, but we are going to have a Decklink 8K with 4 SDIs coming out of it, which means now I'm going to have to route 4 SDIs from front of house all the way back to the broadcast video rack in a different room. Or I could do one of these optical Thunderbolt 3 cables at, I mean, they make them up to 164 feet. Now they're almost $500, right? But then I could rack mount my, Sonnet and Mac Studio in the rack. And then what my buddy was telling me that they do is, I don't want to share this list with y'all. Hold on, let me pull it up. Then they use a Thunderbolt dock of a certain type. Let me pull it up here. Is it this one? No, not that one. Yeah, here we go. So then they're using at the workstation a Sona Echo 11 $200 dock. So we're sitting at, that would be $700 just to not run 4 SDI cables a long ways. And I'm like, is that worth it? I mean, maybe you just like, why? It's cleaner. I mean, I'm not the one who's going to have to run the SDI cables. It's the integration company. So, and they're going to have to run 3 cables for cameras anyways and more. So I don't know if it's worth it, but that's a cool thing. Instead of doing like a KVM, you could do that. But yeah, cat everywhere. And Gray says, I agree. Make that 4 times the amount of outlets. Ooh, yes, Amy, lockable door to the booth. Yeah, we did that. So we put on, maybe I should make a little short about that, about what, a little quick, I think it's a quick set lock. And it's a funny story about that. So our facilities guy put one on there. I would love to move everything to, we're doing all UniFi door access, which is a whole other topic of conversation. But lockable door to the sound booth, what we've done is just a basic quick set with a punch key, and it's got the code on there, and I give it to my tech teams and everybody knows it, right? And then you can unlock it where you don't have to use that. But then you don't have just anybody and everybody can just come in there. And so we put the first one in, and my facilities guy was like, okay, here's your code. And I was like, okay, it's an odd code, but sure. And then a year later, we remodeled the green room, or the closet, into a green room, and he put the same kind of lock on there. And he's like, hey, I made the code the same one as your booth. And I was like, wait, you can set the code on there? Why didn't we make it something like memorable, like our address or something? And he's like, that was the one that came with the lock. So now that you know that one, I figured you just keep using it. I was like, okay, that's fine, but it's just kind of funny. But yeah, a lockable door to the sound booth is always good. Gray, we are in the back by the wall, but due to the rectangular layout, it works without hampering seats. Yeah, I mean, seating is definitely king. Okay. Larry says, open sandbags underfloor for temporary usage. Open sandbags. So you're saying buy sandbag. And this is what my integration company said. They said that sand will absorb the actual like sub 60 hertz frequencies the best, where like rock wool or rock wool insulation, it's not going to absorb that stuff as much because it's not as dense. It will absorb some, but I mean, you're saying to get a bunch of sandbags and open them? And also, that's a lot of sand. And so ChatGPT was like, sand would be like, I mean, it is on the floor. It's on concrete, so weight is not an issue. But it was like, you might attract bugs. I was like, is that a thing? Is sandbags going to attract bugs and ants? Scott says stealth chairs are the bomb. Yeah, I mean, I've always heard great things about stealth chairs. I just can't bring myself to spend that kind of money. What are they like? They're like $600-700, maybe even more. And we've had good luck with the ones on Amazon that we've purchased. They've lasted just as well. I think the armrests, you might have to tighten them once a year. But I like them. They're fine. Stealth chairs are great, but here's the deal. I'm not sitting in them that much, so. Isaac says, shielded everything as well. That's where the significant cost comes in. Yeah, but then I've also heard sometimes you don't want shielded for certain things. Like, this is old, but I feel like you didn't want shielded maybe for like the P16s, or there was something like that. Or maybe it was those, those Ethernet to XLR, Ethernet to DL, I can't talk, Ethernet to XLR/DMX boxes that I've shared. I feel like those don't like shielded. Maybe don't quote me on that, but look, it's like one or the other, because one of them we used either shielded or non-shielded, and 48 volts didn't pass through on the Cat 6. Yeah, I mean, KVM to the Mac. So on the tech tour that I did with First Church, Nazarene, and Bethany, I mean, their church was amazing. And he said that the KVMs they could afford, they found issues. It was just kind of finicky. But the Thunderbolt cable, even though it was about the same cost as a KVM over IP, was much more reliable. And then with that Thunderbolt dock, it just opens up more possibilities rather than like the simple KVMs that you see church front share, which I'm sure are solid for just like, you just need a keyboard video mouse. But like, what if are they powerful enough for like powering a Stream Deck and like maybe an extra monitor or, other drives? I don't know. So, KVMs are cool. I just wonder sometimes if it's like integrators love them because it like cleans up the front of house. But then like, what if I want to put my SD card in? Does that KVM thing now have a thing for an SD card, or am I going back to the rack where like a Thunderbolt dock would have that? Everybody's like, just use a KVM. Tell me what kind of KVM then. What KVM would be better than what I suggested with that Thunderbolt dock? Better hope the Lovo guys don't kink the cable. And that's a consideration with that thin optical cable. So you're using locks with fingerprints on them for any important areas. So are you using UniFi access, or are you using a different company? Because we are moving a lot of our we're using 4 of our doors to UniFi access, and actually we're going to move some of our internal phones to the UniFi system. Is anybody using UniFi Talk? Because I'd be curious to hear your experience. I need that link to that Amazon chair. Okay, I'll find it. You could buy 4 optical cables if you skip the expensive chairs. Maybe you still chair in your office. Oh, I like that idea. Okay, UniFi for the win. Yeah, UniFi has been an interesting thing. So I don't know if you guys can share some of these similar stories. Jacob says, go with Link phones. They're great. What VoIP provider do you use? So let's just pull up UniFi Talk. And because I'm interested to hear anybody else's experience with this. So we were in the spot where, in order to get fiber at our building 2 years ago, we signed a 5-year contract with Cox. And we use UniFi for all of our Wi-Fi, and like we have UDM Pro and switches and stuff like that. But in our remodel, we are gonna do UniFi Protect, and then it's like, well, could we do phones to integrate with all of those access? Sorry, not Protect. We're not doing any of our cameras through them. We're using Lorex for all of our cameras because it's just too much, and we don't have enough bandwidth through the UDM Pro to handle as many cameras as we need. We'll have 32. We'll have 48 cameras on campus. So, but Cox then told us, "Oh no, you're roped into a 5-year contract with your phone service through us," and it's like $250 a month. And I was like, bro, that's not what I signed up for. And then I sent them this ChatGPT generated email from the contract asking them, like what could be done to get out of the phones, and a couple other options, like could we extend our fiber internet in lieu of dropping, and then be able to drop the phones. Because UniFi phones, if you aren't familiar, guys, you basically pay $10 per line instead of much more with other services. And $10 is still more than some of these others. Like you'll see other guys talk about, like, go with these other SIP providers, and then you can integrate it with UniFi, and you pay like $1 a month, and it's like, here's the deal. You could use UniFi though. And I think actually it's $25 if you want to have up to 5 people be able to utilize their cell phones as lines using their app. which is still a great thing. But you can use phones like this to where they have the touch, they have the ability to answer the door locks and all those things. And it's all in the back end of the UDM Pro. You're just setting up users and forwarding calls and sending things to the email instead of voicemail. It's all over. It's just VoIP, so that kind of thing. But I like that it would all just be integrated into one system. As the guy who's like, I'm sure y'all feel my pain, as the guy who ends up having to do all the troubleshooting. I'm the worship pastor, but I'm also I'm the worship and media arts pastor, which means I have to do a lot of IT. And I need something that like, it just is all one system would be great. And it would still save us a lot of money. So yeah, Cox came back and they're like, actually, turns out you're good on your phones. So you're free if you want to switch on phones, which is great. So we're doing some door access. We are doing the the Enterprise Access Hub. And then I forget what all readers and stuff. But that's, luckily we're paying somebody to install that stuff. Because with Fire and code and all that stuff and things needing to work, like I just kind of don't want that responsibility of it, not being installed correctly. So, what are y'all using? UniFi phones are a very expensive option, but I understand the appeal of integration. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're a one-time cost, right? So you buy the phone, you're done. I do wish they used to have a UniFi phone that was like just a dumb phone. It was like $40 where it didn't have all this. And they just don't have that anymore. Like you do have the $200 phone, but yeah, and you can do an analog telephone converter, but we don't want to do that. So phones are dumb, right? It's like, why do we even need phones? Why are we talking about phones? Yeah, they're always dropping new cool stuff though. They, put out the new UPSs. I don't know if y'all follow UniFi's channel, but yeah, they're always putting out these. The little towers look cool. We've got a bunch of towers like that from, I don't know. They're a brand off Amazon, green something. Or maybe they're a more legit one than that. I don't know. But yeah, I like the 2U rack thing. And then they're supposed to be putting in some more options there. I don't remember how much power you need for different things. Integration companies are better at that than I am. But yeah, these little cheap towers, I think they're like $199, which is very competitive with the stuff on Amazon. So I don't know if you necessarily need like the ability to manage and adopt UPSs, but I guess that's cool. How has the reliability been with the UniFi infrastructure? I've been seeing people having nightmares with switches just dying and wireless access points just dropping their adoption randomly. Yeah, so that hasn't been my experience. The only kink that I've ever had with UniFi is really my own fault, I think. When we first set it up, the guy who helped me do it, he was like, hey, just don't update the UDM Pro unless something goes wrong. And I was like, okay. Well, then I updated the firmware here on my ATEM Mini Extreme, and then it switched to streaming via RTMPS instead of RTMP, like the secure protocol. And that version of the firmware for the UniFi system, it would just cache. It would fill up the cache and it wouldn't stream. And I had to go back to the original firmware for this. And so that has its own trade-offs. Now I've updated the firmware on the UDM Pro and I'm keeping it up to date-ish. It's like ProPresenter. Like I don't like being fully up to date, but we've not had any of those issues. And so I could probably update this and it would probably work at this point. But no, I've not had any issues like that. UniFi's been solid. I know there has been some stuff, like we are still doing Netgear switches for all of our IT stuff for Dante. Like I know that they've come out and said we have this AV port management now on the switches. And I think Jake and his team is really going all in on the UniFi switches. They've come out with some more pro switches. But then I'm seeing other people saying like that it's still not working right and that it's causing some issues. So yeah, I don't know. But for us, it's been solid. Aaron says, I set up a church with UniFi internet. They had AT&T Closet Fi. Their Wi-Fi sucked before. UniFi internet? Are you saying that they provide actual service? I didn't know that. Lincoln, when mixing for my stream, I have the vocals going to a subgroup. Should I slam the compression on individual channel, or should I do that in the subgroup, trying to improve the stream sound? I mean, I don't think anyone would ever really recommend you slamming the compression for any of your vocal groups. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there that can kind of give you some hints on the best way to, compress vocals. I think a lot of people like to do the multiple steps of compression. If you look at my X32 recent video, I do show the settings, I think, of my compression groups. Usually you're just trying to shave off a few dB of the biggest parts and then bringing that back in the makeup gain for each channel. And so like for each vocalist, and then that subgroup doing the same thing. And that should get you the kind of like a more glued together vocal mix. Now listen, I'm just a dude. I'm not an audio expert. That's just information I've gleaned and tried. That's been decently successful for me. Maybe Brad can answer that later. We'll ask him about it if we have time. Yeah, Jensen asks, what do you think about UniFi's new AV products they teased? I mean, yeah, I think I love the idea. I really do. I love the idea. I like all their products. And I think that if that solves the issues that people were having, then let's do it. Corbin, what do you think about the Canon PTZ cameras like the CRN 300 and CRN 500? Oh, Corbin. Corbin. What do I think about them? Well, if you want me to talk about Canon PTZs, I can. Let's talk about them. So it's funny you ask. I actually, Justin Firesheets texted me the other day, and he was like, "Hey, I'm writing an article for Church Production magazine. Do you about PTZs? Do you want to chime in on and kind of share your thoughts and usage of PTZs?" And I was like, if you want somebody to talk about why you shouldn't use a PTZ, I'm happy to contribute. I mean, let's look at them. So the Canon CRN 300s. So you're looking at $2,700. Here's my thing with PTZs. You pay so much money for a camera that really can only do one function, and to me, does not do it nearly as well, like not even close to as well as a camera setup that's half the price. And then that camera setup that's half the price is now flexible and can be used in other places. Now, I get it. If you are a church that you have to be discreet with your cameras, maybe there's a certain place this is the only thing that you could utilize is a PTZ. Then everybody that I've talked to, Drake Kelch, other people, the CRN 500, 300 is okay. 500 is really good. FR7 from Sony is great. I mean, but look at it. Like you're paying $5,700 for, what is this, a 1-inch sensor? 1-inch CMOS sensor, right? Sure, it's a great PTZ camera, but like, an S5 II that you're looking at right here on my screen is $1,500. And the lens that I'm using is a, what is it? Mikey 85mm 1.8. That's like a couple $100. Now, obviously you don't get all those things, but I think that people are so quick to say like, we just don't have camera operators. And I just don't really buy that. Like, we have so many youth helping us. And I don't, like, a lot of times, all these streams that I see where people submit and they're like, we have 7, no, they don't even have that. We have 4 PTZ cameras. A lot of times they're not doing anything besides like just going to a new position. It still looks like a bunch of static cameras. So in my opinion, I personally, instead of spending the money on like 4 high quality PTZ cameras, I would rather get more just cheaper mirrorless cameras and put them in more spots around my worship center. So then I actually do have more options of shots that are from lots of angles instead of one camera that's just like zooming in, zooming out, moving, panning. It's kind of the same vantage point, right? So those are some of my thoughts. I mean, if Canon, now here's the deal. I've never tried one in our spaces. So James, if you want to send me a package to demo and actually test, I'm happy to give it a fair shot. It's just for me, like the value to, what's that called? Why am I blanking? You know, like the feature set to value, like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Basically, it's just not worth it for what you get. But I understand that some churches are locked in where you have to have PTZs. Some good thoughts on compression in here. Jacob says, we are using Sony FX30s and a Blackmagic streaming encoder all in 1080p. Seems like our stream is extremely compressed. Any suggestions? Well, Jacob, I would say, yeah, it's always about like where in the chain are things happening. So compare it to your recording, and I would ask, like, out of your Blackmagic encoder, is it then going to another service? Is it going to like Resi, or, well, it probably isn't going to Resi. Is it going to Restream or something else before going out? Maybe check those settings. We did, since we have fiber here and we have enough up, we did actually switch our web presenter HD to the HyperDeck low setting, and that's a little bit higher bit rate. I think it's like 10 to 12 megabits per second. Is it bits or bytes? I think it's bytes. And streaming high when you're doing 1080p at 30, which we are, is actually more like what you're seeing right now. So right now I'm streaming at, the data rate says 5.5 MBS. And it looks fine, right? Like, audio's fine. I would ask, maybe, like, when you say extremely compressed, are you saying the video or the audio? I wish that on those web presenters and the encoders that you could say a higher audio bit rate, like up to 320 on the audio, but maybe video lower, because like that would make a difference, I feel like. Okay, he's hitting Subsplash. Yeah, I would definitely check with Subsplash on like, what are you guys doing to it for the final encoding before sending it out from there. Subsplash calls me all the time, man. And there's another church here in town that's much bigger than us that they've gone all Subsplash, like I think database, everything. And then other churches I've heard horror stories about, like, once you get in Subsplash, you can never get out. I'm hearing the LV1 might get an upgrade to 80 channels and an extra 8 output buses for groups. Man, the LV1 does look really interesting to me. I personally just haven't had the chance to ever really even sit behind one or mess with one. Obviously, I'm leading worship every Sunday, and I need we have a full volunteer team, like about 5 guys that can run audio. And if you have an LV1, like, is it super user friendly? Or like, are you setting all that up ahead of time, just like you would on any other console, where it's like all the wave stuff is just kind of preset, just like you would on a Behringer wing, and then people are just riding faders. Because I need it to be really user friendly. I'm also curious about, somebody asked in here, how are you liking the FX30? I'm also curious about that. I have a video coming out soon about all of my thoughts about different camera brands. I checked out for 15 minutes, come back to Subsplash Talk, triggering my PTSD. So am I right, Isaac? Was that your experience? Is it like coming out of a cult where it's like, you can never leave? It's friendly, almost the same learning curve with a wing to me. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of people are really liking it. I also want my whole ecosystem in my church for volunteer pools and training grounds to kind of all flow together. So I like that it's all kind of in that Behringer ecosystem for me. Now that might not apply as much anymore because we have X32. The wing is so different. It's not like going from X32 to M32 like we had. So that may be a moo point if you're an Office fan. Bruh. It was so bad. Pastor wanted a church app and they sold him on so much more. Made it 6 months, and then it took 18 months to recover back to PCO. You bought 3 of the FX30s using their PZ lenses with apertures at f4, which is kind of like f5.6 on a full frame since it's a Super 35 sensor. Yeah, they've got like that, what is it, like an 18-105 PZ lens, and that looks really interesting to me for our cable cam. Because the new cable cam that I've got going in the new worship center actually has the ability to remotely control a Sony FX30 with a lens like that's PZ all from the remote without any other external attachments or anything. So like you don't need any motor attachments or tiltas or anything like that. Isaac, what cable cam rig? Y'all want to see it? I don't know. Should I show you guys? I kind of don't want to. I don't know. I think I want to wait. It's not a dactyl, I'll tell you that much. But it's not a viral. It's something else. How about this, Isaac? On the creative crew, I'll show you in the member only live stream. I'll show you then, or I'll talk about it at least then. That's right, for members' eyes only. That's right. Oh gosh. Okay, so no one answered my question besides Larry, I think it was Larry, about how to sound dampen. So would you guys sound dampen your sound booth with sandbags? Would you put, the other thing that ChatGPT said to do was to put a second layer of plywood over the top layer, because it's just a single layer, and put green glue in between, which is like a sound dampening thing that sound studios will use. It was like $500 for a deal of it though. And that would decouple the top enough to where you wouldn't get those vibrations coming through. When I say we stabilized it. We actually, what we did was we used car jacks under, like a bunch of little car jacks underneath the middle of it, and just like stabilized underneath, so that way there's less of that flex and boom. Sorry, I thought that was Brad. And that has helped a ton, but it's like, okay, do I want an extra layer of plywood? And honestly, like, it's not that big a deal. Could I just do the rock wool? But it's still $500 of insulation just for one side of it. Insulation's not cheap. Or do I do sandbags? And would that actually, I just don't want to go buy a bunch of sandbags if that's not actually going to do anything. Jacob, our sound booth is upstairs in a very old church and it creaks so loud. Please share any secrets or ideas. Well, I mean, like I said, the first thing George, turn the bass down from 11. Okay, what's funny is, I mean, honestly, in our worship center, and maybe if Marshall's still in here or anybody else, Durfmeister, any of these other people that have actually been in our space, the bass was present, but it was never, all of our subs really were, we had 3 subs that were flown, one at each array, and they weren't even 18s. They were 15s, I think. I don't know. Marshall's got the arrays now. It's a full sound and a present sound, but never like that hit you in the chest kind of thing, which I kind of love to feel it more. And so the room was never super bass heavy, but you got in the sound booth and it was like, wow, the bass is really rocking today. This is great. This is just how I want it. And then you walk out and you're like, where's the kick drum? It's gone. So that's what I'm trying to like not have happen anymore. I just want it to be like a pretty fair representation, even though they can walk out with mixing station and, you know, roll with it and be able to get a good idea. But we are going to have ground subs now. We will have 4 dual 18s underneath the stage in our new setup, which is gonna be real nice. Real nice. Oh, I've tried the green glue and it was a game changer on plywood. Really good separation for our drum set. Okay, tell me more. Like you're saying on like a drum riser, you got rid of vibration by doing that, like into microphones maybe or something. Would that get rid of like translation of vibration into the feet of someone standing on the platform if that put that second layer with the green glue? See, that's why I love this community and live stream, guys. We're learning together. Yeah, I mean, Jacob, it's always hard. Like, if you want to move the sound booth, that's a big task, right? There you go, Marshall. See, he's still liking them, those EVs. Okay, you've added the floor subs too. And we did have 2 floor subs, but they were like so far out on the outside. They were kind of like pointed at the corners of the room. You know, they didn't really do that much. And they were down really low in the mix. What subs are we going with? So we are going with it's all a Martin system. Let me pull up the specs on our quote and I'll tell you guys. Final signed. So we have, where is audio? Rigging, camera. Oh, we didn't get to do camera. House lights, acoustic treatment, didn't do that. Oh, PA. So we're doing the Martin Tourist PA, and that is the SX218s. So maybe I can pull that up. What happens if I click this? The 218s, is that what I said? SX218s. And they're probably just going to look like every other dual 18 you see. Yeah. Big old wooden box with a grill on it. So we'll have 4 of those across the front. And then we're actually going stereo in the room. So that's exciting. Super fun. I've loved having stereo in the venue that we're in currently. Our room previously, though, it just didn't really... It was too wide for stereo, and so it didn't make sense. Bass Boss SSP 218s? Okay. You get down to 30 hertz. I mean, so we have some JBL, the SRX 218s, I think they are, in the venue, and it is insane how loud the bass can get in there. And not even how loud, but like how it will hit you in the chest. And they're flown center. We made like a custom, I say we, Sound in Church, our integrator that did that room, who's my brother-in-law. If you want to look them up in Oklahoma, they're great. They built a custom sub basket for those JBLs, if you've watched that tour of the venue. But dude, we've had to turn those subs down. Like when we first moved in there, it was like every month I had to like go to the amp and just be like, we're going to turn them down just a little bit, you know, because it's just too much. Because we don't do aux fed subs, and I didn't want to go in and mess with the processor and all that stuff. So that was the easiest way to do it. Because I don't know what I'm doing. So, yeah. Okay, you put the riser on 8 rubber damped casters. You built on a 2x4 platform and plywood subfloor. Use green glue on the floors and walls. Double layer with the glue in between. Yeah. Okay. Did you consider cardioid sub configuration? I mean, Larry, yeah, they drew up a bunch of different options and everything, and based on, you know, all the calculations in the room, and there's some interesting things because of the way that our subs have to be laid out with the way the stage is being built and the conduit that is coming up literally out of the concrete. We can't do certain things. So that may have been something that they're like, hey, we were going to do that, but like they literally can't sit behind or next to each other or what, you know, because sometimes they'll do that where it's like one's facing forward, one's facing backwards. And yeah, I don't know. But the coverage map looks great. We'll see. I trust them. That's what I'm paying them for. Aaron says your UniFi system went offline. Dang. Okay, well, you know what? It's almost 1, so, and Brad hasn't been able to get back on, so we've got our member-only live stream coming up soon. So I do want to dive into these 3 live streams that I've got on the docket today. We've got 3 coming at you for sure, and if I have time, I'll jump into some more, and let's just go ahead and get into them, though. So this first live stream that we're going to review together comes to us from Breakthrough Worship Center. This one was submitted by Toli. They say they have a all Black Magic Family ATEM Constellation 4K for me. They have Ursa Broadcast G2s, Web Presenter 4K, kind of like we were talking about there. They're running a DAW with Pro Tools setup. Front of house is an Avantis using MADI to go to the DAW. All right, so let's give Breakthrough Worship Center a little look and listen here, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts. And you guys chime in the comments for me, please. love that little shot of the drummer, air drumming there in the audience. All right, so yeah, chime in the comments, guys, what you're seeing, what you're hearing there. This is Breakthrough Worship Center in 4K, baby. Let's go. Love it. Honestly, sounding great, looking great. Okay, things that jump out at me. Let's just kind of compartmentalize, or else I'll be chasing rabbits. Let's go audio. Let's go with audio first. Somebody commented here, electric is the worship leader. I'm not sure if you mean like because he's MDing the whole time, or if it's maybe a little loud in the mix. That could be possible. I always like doubt my 6 drivers here, because like sometimes I kind of got to push to get the right mix on the seal anymore. These are like 10 years old. But seemed like maybe electric was a tiny hot, but honestly, I thought the mix was really solid. Listen to this vocal.
Holy is the Lord on high. We join with the elders. Holy is the Lord.
Well, maybe a little verby, but I like it. I like it. It's cool. It sounds very live. And the drum mix I thought sounded really good. Let's see what you guys are thinking. He slipped the front of house engineer $20. Vocals a little light in the mix. Okay. Okay. Okay, Larry. Yeah. So this is something I was going to comment on as well. I love the set design. Like, I think it's really cool. It's something totally different. It almost looks like a TV show set, you know? Like, I feel like this could be like a newscaster station thing or something. It looks so good with those LED tape in between the flats. Just looks really clean. But what that does is there is nowhere to hide. And so you got this kid and he's like all black, you know, I'm a ninja, I disappear. Well, not whenever it's an all white set. And he's kind of very apparent in especially one of those shots where it's focusing on just her. Let's see if we can find it. Like anytime it was just that tripod shot locked off on her right there, you know, he's kind of living in that area behind her. That was distracting. In the room, I don't think it's a big deal because they're not doing IMAG, right? And so it's just for the stream. And I don't know how to get around that necessarily. You just got to live with it if those are the shots you really, really want. I think you could... I don't think you have to be behind people necessarily. I don't know that... Maybe there's a different way to do that shot without standing literally right behind somebody. Not that big a deal, honestly. I think that one thing about this stage design is like, I wish, like I think a next step they could do is put an LED strip right here in the top center, because you got a wide setup with these screens. See, look at this lady right here. She is literally having to turn away from where everybody is leading, and you know, you're just kind of disengaged because you're looking over at the lyric screens. That's why I really like the center screens, even though maybe that's old, I don't know. To me, it keeps everybody's focus kind of there, and so even just like a lyric banner up there would be cool. The Black Magics though look really good. I think the energy looks great. The directing looks really good. It's interesting to me, like maybe it's just the dynamic range of these cameras. Your room doesn't look that bright necessarily, but I'm seeing a lot of the people. And so like, are you backlighting people here? Because like on this shot right here where you got this jib, is there lights coming from the back that's kind of doing that gate? Oh, no, it's not Gateway. Who does that? Belonging Co. does that. Because I love that look. It's cool. I mean, I see you got lights up here kind of shining out. But I love that you can see people worshiping. Obviously, your culture is different than my culture. I would not show people's like faces and like up close like worship things, but everybody's church culture is different when it goes to that. Have him wear a green bodysuit and key him out. No, Larry, don't say it. Don't say it. PTZ on stage. I mean, honestly, for the shot that they were getting, that back shot, you could put like a slider or something like that. I wouldn't put a CRN 500 back there, but you could throw a little slider shot back there and just have that back shot. It'd be less distracting than this kid standing there right behind everybody. Yeah, unique for sure. I was looking for lights back here, but I don't really see any. So I think it's a great live stream. I love that it's translating. Like, to me, what's happening in the room is definitely coming through online. It's just the kid is pulling me out of it for sure. So, but man, the jib shots look great. Drums sound good. Listen for just another minute before we move on. I mean, that snare may be a little bit of too much of a, like the sample that you're using there may be a little too much of like a push, push. Listen. Yeah, do you hear it? I mean, yeah, it's the danger with samples, right? It'd be nice if it was blended. Maybe just cut it back to like a 50% blend. And if you're already there, maybe blend it a little more. So, all right. Thank you guys for submitting. Honestly, it's pretty inspirational. I love the use of motion. I love the use of energy. Colors match great with cameras. Audio is on point. So, great job, Breakthrough Worship Center. All right, let's move on to GracePoint Lex. They are using an ATEM Mini Extreme with 3 cameras. These are PTZ cameras. Famoco. I've been reached out to by them about testing their cameras, and I've always just kind of been like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you interested in those? Should I look at them? And an old Sony for the drum shot. Then they're going out of the ATEM into OBS. And audio, separate post-fader stereo mix from the main board, which is an Allen & Heath SQ6 into a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 into OBS. All right, let's give it a listen here. GracePoint Lex. Let's go. Yeah. Hold on, drummer is leading worship. I see the headset. Let's go. All right, so turn off the autofocus on that camera, if you can. Hey, we have that drum set. All right, so yeah, Larry, you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Try some verb on the vocals. So that would definitely kind of help sweeten things up. Right now, it just kind of seems dryish, like real direct. All the sound seems very direct, like I just plugged it right into OBS, you know? So I love the energy. I love, like, you don't have this huge team, but like you're bringing a lot of energy with it. You're relying a lot on your pianist to bring a lot of that musicality to it. I would say that maybe the piano's a little hot in the mix even. So it sound like you are using tracks too. That's this weird balance of like, when you don't have electric guitars and then you've got these like lead parts in the tracks, that maybe feel weird to like have up in the mix. So you either got to decide, you're either going to use them and lean into it and put them at the right level in the mix, or just don't use them, is my opinion on that. So like at the beginning, I heard them kind of kick in. Bring those tracks up. Let it fill in the sound. So like right here, listen. Show the pianist. Why are you showing these girls clapping? Show the drummer. It's an instrumental. Fast song like this, I wouldn't use these dissolves. I would just cut between your cameras. I agree. I can't comment on that. I don't know. Oh, I hear him. Listen, guys. Let your fire fall. Let your spirit move. Yeah, I hear the bongos. Yeah, so video-wise, I mean, you got these cameras that are PTCs. Great. PTCs are awesome. No, we've already talked about that. Use them to their strengths. I don't know about Fomoco, how many presets you can do. I would take them out of auto. It seems like maybe they're in all auto. If they're not, then maybe just, oh, let's go. Hold on. I mean, we got Phil Collins on the drums, baby. Let's go. I'm impressed, literally. You guys, small team, but you're killing it. Take your cameras out of auto. Set up some more presets so you can like have different looks and different things to pop between on the fast song like this where you got lots of energy going. And if you can, eventually, the next step I would do is just eventually get one handheld camera that you can roam around with, that you can just have some more variation with. And I think that would take your stream to the next level. Obviously, you got a lot going on in the room, a lot of energy. And so I think that adding that next handheld element would be the natural to make it feel like this more authentic, like me feeling what's happening in the room on the stream. Right now, this shot, it's a great kind of safe shot, but it's more like me watching y'all do church a little bit. So, what other thoughts before we move on? Yeah, bass can even come up. Bongo's got to be slapped way harder. Yep. Yeah, so some good thoughts in there. Go back and review the chat. All right, let's go to our last live stream review today. And this one comes to us from West End. They have 3 cameras going into a Blackmagic TV studio and an X32 using X32 Edit in a separate room. All right, let's give it a listen here.
It's a God story, gotta tell the world what He's done for me. Miracles on miracles, only He could do. I'm proof that we're all only one prayer away from a testimony. There's only one getting all the glory. My whole life is a God story. A God story.
She can sing.
From beginning to the end, who I was to who I am, I can see His fingerprint.
Rocking the Rollins back there.
Now the story that I love to tell is the story of the one who brought me back from hell. When all is wrong to it is well.
So I'm just not a fan of the iPad music stands for singers. I mean, we have them for our bass guitarist and our string player. Just get a screen in the back of the room if you can. Like, it's so easy to do now, and it just gets people's eyes up. It's just, I feel like it's real disengaging when we're looking to, like, what if I did this whole live stream and I was literally like looking at my computer the whole time, and I just was watching the live stream right here, and I was talking like this the whole time, and I never actually, you know, I was talking to you guys, but I actually never looked at you. I never engaged with you. And so just having a screen up gets your eyes up, and it makes you more confident that you, and the lyrics are bigger, so you're not glued to like, I'm going to lose my place on this little iPad. So I think that's something just like little you could do. Musically, let's listen a little bit more, and you guys give some suggestions of what you're hearing.
It's a God story, gotta tell the world what He's done for me. Miracles on miracles, only He can do. I'm proof that we're all only one prayer away from a testimony. There's only one getting all the glory. My whole life is a God story.
Does this sound like real, like it's missing some low end and mids? Like it seems very like the mids have all just been scooped out of it. Like I hear the kick, and then I hear the vocals very top endy, unless I'm crazy. And the kick almost sounds like it's like hitting compression or something. Vocals sound great. I love the kind of like feel of this band. Yeah, I even listened to some of your pastor preaching later, and it feels very authentic to like who you are as a church. The style of music you're doing kind of matches the personality of the church to me.
One big question. Do we have any God stories in here today?
There you go, baby. Let's go.
That's right, man. It's
Roll
exciting.
Tide. No, I don't know where you're at. So those are some of my thoughts. Like I would tweak some of those on the X32. Like if you're having to EQ things in the room to get rid of some of those frequencies, that's when you would want to go to a DAW mix, like a digital audio workstation, so you can have separate EQs, because you may be having to EQ things appropriately to like fix things in the room so it doesn't sound like muddy or something in the room, but then now your live stream is kind of thin or whatever. So that's when a DAW would be helpful, and like you're mixing in a separate room, but you're using the X32 edit, so you can't separate the two mixes necessarily with as far as like EQs. It's just one channel strip setting, as far as I know. Video wise on that stream, I mean, I like your lighting on the back wall there. That was kind of cool. It did seem like maybe there was some auto things going on as well. Like when we came out of this little opener video here, this camera shot all of a sudden was real overexposed, and then changed white balances. So like, and this one's a little underexposed. So we're not matching exposures between shots. So if you can just spend some time just for somebody watching the live stream, it's not like a conscious thing. It's more of a subconscious thing that kind of pulls you out of it a little bit, to where when the shots don't kind of tie together with color, with exposure, it just makes your eye or your mind even like be drawn to that instead of just taking it in and being a part of the church experience. So put things in manual, dial things in. Maybe I need to do a video like how to set white balance, like moving from auto to manual. I just take things for granted because I've moved past that a long time ago, but I know a lot of churches are you just got cameras and you're like, how do I do this? You know, it doesn't look bad. I just think if you're asking for help, those are some of the first things I would kind of tweak. So this guy had a good voice too, y'all. All right, we're over time. Unfortunately, Brad wasn't able to make it. You know, sometimes you're at a church conference and they need you, and you just unfortunately can't make it. So maybe, who knows, if you're one of the creative crew members, we're about to hop into that Zoom session. If he IGs me and he's able to jump into that Zoom session, we'll get him in there. That'd be cool. If not, no big deal. So yeah, John, that's a great point in the chat. Multi-track, and then you can always go back and work on things throughout the week. So, hey, great convos in here. Honestly, you guys were really helpful to me, even as I'm navigating some issues in my own church tech world. So be on the lookout for more videos to come. And if you want to jump into the creative crew, there's still time. And we'll hop into that live stream. Give me about 5 minutes and I'll get that feed going. If you're going to be in Zoom, we'll be there. But then I'll also live stream the Zoom to YouTube. Yay. All right. It's been a great day. Happy Friday. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. And let's keep doing great things for God's glory. That's what it's all about. See ya.